I think, Junaid, we are good to start.
Yes, Ronak. We're good to start. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar. Speaker for today webinar is Mr. Ronak, and he will start the webinar. So, Ronak, handing over to you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being a part of this webinar and being here to understand something with regards to the modern workplace that we talk about today. In the current situation that we are, the the crisis that we all know, and the time that we all have to spend working from home, remote working is becoming one of the most essential and the new normal way of working for an enterprise or for an organization. While working remotely, while doing things remotely, it is extremely essential to understand that we are satisfying the requirements of the users completely, but at the same time putting corporate security and compliance also into place in order to make sure that we are not compromising any kind of a user data or compromising any sensitive corporate information. Now, when we talk about doing such kind of things, we often look up to some cloud provider today, and we require some kind of a cloud based application or a service that can handle this for us. That is where Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security comes into the picture. Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security currently is the fastest growing and the most comprehensive suite, offering you every single facet of things that you would want to do in terms of implementing, giving access, controlling, and managing the devices or users locally as well as remotely. The security landscape has changed. The mobility landscape has changed. The digital transformation that we are into, the digital culture that we are into, is now becoming a mobile digital culture. By every passing day, while we are actually into these kind of activities or working, we need to make sure that come what may, any kind of a user experience is not compromised with the best of security coming up in place. That is where we talk about Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security. So, when I talk about enterprise mobility and security, we in today's date would want to categorize security landscape with three different verticals. One is identity, another one is the devices, and last one is the application data. So, when I say application and the data, and when I say devices, when I say identity, here I'm talking about my users who are going to access things over the cloud platform. I'm talking about the devices that are going to be used to access the cloud data, and then the applications and the data which actually will be accessed. So, when we have a security platform to be taken care of, we need to make sure that we are only allowing selected identities to work on selected devices and accessing selective application and data. Now, when I say we are talking about a Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security solution, when I say enterprise mobility, here I am talking about managing all your identities, all your users, devices, managing all your different operating system platforms and mobile devices and applications like Android and iOS, looking after information protection, making sure that all the data on those platforms, on those mobile devices, and on those mobile applications is completely encrypted and not being shared to an unauthorized user or to a unauthorized device or an application. All of this comes as a part of the enterprise mobility solution. So when I say identity and access management, it is Azure Active Directory. When I say users and analytics, it is advanced threat management. When I say mobile device and application management, it is Intune. And for information protection, it is AIP. And all of this, once we start controlling The final monitoring report or the output can be seen in the cloud app security as an application. We will be coming to what CAS actually does, but until then, let's proceed with the next part of this. When I say EMS, what exactly EMS is? EMS basically has got two variants which are the topmost ones. One is an E3 and another one is an E5. In today's date, we have more than 47,000 enterprise EMS customers worldwide with over more than, I need to change this number, with over more than 4,000 plus applications secured using Microsoft Security Suite. Reason being, the security part of the EMS of the Enterprise Mobility and Security Suite by Microsoft currently stands among the top three security platforms to cater services from the cloud front. So when we talk about EMS, you either procure E3 or E5, and that has got nothing to do with what version of Office 365 are you using. So it can probably be the smallest or the basic most license of Office 365 with the topmost license of E5, no problem. So yeah, there is a lot that comes as a part of our EMS suite completely, and hence we probably might take a complete walkthrough of the products that you have and how these are going to help in today's date to manage and control your modern workplace. Today, when I say a workplace wherein I'm allowing the users with a lot of their own devices and stuff, I am giving them accessibility to resources to install the applications and everything by their own. I give them self-service options to reset the password, to modify the applications available for them. And at the same time, I also need to look into data protection, which will be at multiple different layers, which I will have to implement to make sure that at every layer I'm hardening the security to a level that only the necessary content is accessed by by the permitted users. So when we talk about all of these, the whole reason of having EMS in place is using one single console to manage the entire suite. Like if I want to implement an end-to-end enterprise mobility security solution apart from M365, we probably might need multiple applications. We might need multiple rules. We might need multiple different OEM-based management tools to manage all of this from one single place. Whereas enterprise mobility and security can all be taken care of from one single console that is into the Azure portal. There is a lot that can be achieved using enterprise mobility and security. First and foremost, the whole suite of enterprise mobility and security is agentless. It helps manage all the different identities, applications, devices, and also do access management. It provides you with the necessary Office 365 management with data protection in place. When you implement all of this together, when all of this is done using the M365 suite and given it to the user, the what all the user needs to do is just log in with his username and password, his device policies, his device settings, device restrictions, applications to which the user will have access. Each and every single aspect will be directly taken care of. So it is basically beyond a single sign-on. It is like a seamless single sign-on wherein they log in once and get an access to every probable application, file, or resource that they are looking for. In today's date, we need to first identify what is the purpose of implementing new technology in our workplace. Like, is it for a remote working? Is it for in-office working? How is it? Based on which we will also have to identify as to till what level are we planning to implement this and how 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 seamlessly are we planning to use this into our environment? Multi-generational teamwork is something which is obviously needed, because when I get in the fundamentals of bring my own device, your BYOD and BYOL, there might be users using different versions of iOS on different Apple handsets, different Android versions on different Android handsets, different Windows operating systems on their laptops and desktops. And based on the type of version or the component that they used, we need to grant them the necessary application compatibility. So it is going to be where I will have multiple types of operating systems, different types of devices, different types of applications, different types of users with different purpose to access those resources. And to do all of these, we actually need some really good level of skills to implement this and to have all these components readily set up so that we are not compromising on our environment at any cost. When I say increase the transparency, let us keep this point to be discussed with cloud app security. Today, the mobility productivity challenge that we might face is that when I talk about a user, he will probably look for working easily from anywhere, from any device, easy access to familiar applications, and share data and resources pretty much seamlessly with coworkers and partners. While leveraging the users to do all of these, we also need to keep in mind that I need to have complete access to whatever user is doing. I must have complete security over the access that the user has. I must have complete security over the data that has been placed over there. I should be protecting the corporate data and resources to an extent that we are not compromising it or getting any kind of a legal compliance issue. And while I implement things so aggressively, I will need a really good monitoring dashboard to give me the complete insight of whatever is happening while I have these services running in my environment. So when we talk about M365 in the modern workplace today, it gives you a complete package of Office applications, of Windows 10, of managing the mobile devices and applications, and at the same time implementing security over the same. So when we talk about the entire modern workplace, we have users, devices, applications, and data to be looked into, but with different level of users. So they might be either employees, they might be our customers, they might be our business partners. And while managing all of these, I need to also make sure that I'm simplifying IT to an extent that the adaption of these kind of services in our environment is much more simpler, much more easier, rather than it being too complex. So when we talk about security, it is basically at these four levels that it can be implemented in our mobility environment. It can be implemented at the identity level, the sender and the recipient level. It can be implemented at the device level, at the application level, and lastly, at the data in the application level. I will have to define things in a way that, let's say, for example, I have users and they accessing their resources and services over multiple different types of devices, and they come to access some kind of a corporate data. In that case, the request will first hit Microsoft Intune, the mobility application and device management platform. If at all it finds that the device is not legitimate, then the request will be denied completely. But by any chance, if the request is authentic, then the policies will be put in place, the entire device will be scanned, all the applications that need to be available as a part of the compliance, like the antivirus, the firewall, the threat management, etc., all should be taken care of. And only then it will grant the access to the user. So it is not that a user sitting at home with a device, or probably you can say with an application, can do any kind of a tampering of data. It is a lot of condition based policies that we need to implement, which will help my data and my applications to get protected even better. So this also comes as a part of my EMS suite to help you control all your devices and your applications and the data in the time when the user is working remotely. Let us consider over here a fundamental of mobile application management. Now, when I say mobile application management over here, I mean that on a device that the user has of his own personal device, the moment I get the device into the compliance, my compliance will first categorize the applications that are personal and work managed applications. The policies and settings that will be pushed, that will control the data and information, will all be only and only on the corporate managed apps. And this particular security that we implement over here is going to be pretty much uh, good to understand, and really interesting to know, because let's say for example I send you an email wherein I am sending you an Excel file or a Word file. Now Word as an application is entitled to open corporate data as well as personal data both on the same device. I cannot have two Word applications, but the mobile application management platform of enterprise solution by Microsoft over here is giving you an opportunity to read both the data in the same application, yet the corporate data will be classified separately. Let us say, for example, that I send you an Excel sheet in an email attachment. You open the Excel sheet, you copy the content out of it, and you try to paste it in some personal app. That's going to be restricted, and you won't be able to do that. Let's say you copied the data and tried to put it in a business managed application. The paste option will work. Let's say you try to save the file to a personal OneDrive. It will block you, and the data can only be stored then in a corporate OneDrive. So this is a kind of an application management that I can implement and that I can keep over here to make sure that all my data is only being exchanged across the applications which are managed by my corporate compliance. When I say manage access to applications, what are the kind of applications to which I can manage my accessibility? To your surprise, you can manage nearly 17,000 plus applications through your enterprise mobility and security suite. When I say 17,000 plus applications, I'm not only talking over here about applications which are provided by Microsoft, but I'm also talking about third party applications, as you can rightly observe here, that it can protect SAP, it can protect AD&T based applications, it can protect applications like TeamViewer or some other third party applications that might be installed or provisioned on those devices. Apart from the publicly available applications, so let's say for example you have some custom in-house built application, some line of business application, then that application also can be controlled using these policies. And lastly, while you control all of this, you can push all the applications to the users using your Windows Virtual Desktop, which is coming as a part of the Microsoft Azure Cloud Platform, and make sure that every instance that the user is accessing is in compliance with the corporate organization and the policies, and the data of all the applications is accessible through those devices only. Identity driven security. So over here, what I mean to say is Azure is a cloud platform backed up by a very niche artificial intelligence and a machine learning platform, which is going to give you immense of opportunities and very broad vertical of managing the identities that are going to actually get. So it can, as I told you, I will be discussing further. And after all of this is done, there is also a separate threat detection and a threat and a user behavior tracking that can be implemented in my identity environment. It is all going to be implemented and used in that particular environment where your enterprise mobility and security solution is going to be in place. So when I talk about EMS, as I said, the four levels of security. So it's your Azure Active Directory, which you need to use. You need to use Microsoft Intune for your mobile device management and your mobile application management. And lastly, you will use information protection and rights management to protect the data inside those applications, which altogether become the enterprise mobility suite. JAMF. There might be organizations that have Mac laptops and desktops. Unfortunately, Intune and Apple do not have this direct integration where you can start managing these applications or these devices that are on Mac OS. So, what you need is, or what you have as a potential is like you have your Apple JAMF solution in place. You integrate, collaborate your JAMF solution with Microsoft Intune and start pushing the policies to control your Mac devices. Windows Hello for Business. As we talk about the mobile digital transformation and the adaptation to the modern workplace, we always want one thing to be in common, and that is the experience of the user to remain the same across any platform or any kind of a device. And to do that, we actually have a feature called as Windows Hello for Business. When Hello for Business is implemented, you can actually adapt all the trusted authentication methods like PIN numbers, like facial recognition, like iris scanner, your fingerprints, etc. Like all those types of authentication biometrics that are used on mobile devices, so that come what may, whichever type of device I may go to, I will get the same level of experience in accessing that device. Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection, currently considered to be the number one in managing and securing your Windows 10 devices. Windows Defender ATP also comes as a part of your Enterprise Mobility and Security suite, but the E5 license. Using this Defender ATP, you can probably have limitless potential to harden your Windows 10 devices to secure and control your Windows 10 devices. So Windows Defender ATP is also something that you would want to prefer to use, which comes as a part of your license. And if not, you have options of collaborating other mobile threat defense application platforms with your enterprise mobility suite so that none of your devices are left insecure. Windows Update. As we all know today, patching and managing my Windows operating systems, the updates that we get on Windows operating systems is uh, a big domain of expertise altogether, wherein we use SCCM and a lot other such tools like Windows deployment services and WSOS, etc. Moving to this enterprise mobility and security, while I have my users working remotely, we have the Windows Update for Business that is so brilliant that you do not have to do anything apart from scheduling the updates to be pushed. You go to the portal, you go to the admin part of it, you set up how and at what time the updates need to be pushed. Whether the user is sitting in your organization or outside your organization, that user can seamlessly just get the Windows update and the operating system will remain up as the latest one. No need of managing things using configuration manager, but you can integrate it if you have on-premise devices. No need of using WDS and WSUS services, but again, you can integrate it with your on-premise environment and still have the latest updates and the update rings and the features that are being pushed by your cloud platform. We might often have this question that if I have a user in his own device, data, all my information is wiped out correctly from that particular device. Intune gives you three different levels of options. One is wipe. When I say wipe, it is actually going to factory data reset the complete device. When I say retire, it will remove the device from Intune and it can be provisioned back in the Intune environment. And another one is just to simply remote wipe the corporate data. So when it is a personal device, I will probably not want to factory data reset the device. I will not want to retire the device, because factory data reset will wipe out all the information and retire will still maintain the information on the device. So what I will do is I will initiate application specific wipes and just wipe out all the corporate data that is lying on those devices and make sure that whatever Intune device management is doing is all cleared before the device is gone from the environment. As I already spoke to you about Windows Defender ATP, this is a little even more understanding what can be done on that aspect. I'll be sharing these decks with you for your better understanding. So when I say the Microsoft security model today ranks at place one in the IT industry, there are reasons for it. Because for application level, what you have is your Office 365 ATP. For your endpoints, that is your end user devices, what you have is a Windows Defender ATP. And lastly, for your servers and your IT infrastructure, what you have is an Azure ATP. So all of this together forms the advanced threat protection solution that comes as a part of your enterprise mobility and security suite at three different layers: Office 365, Windows Defender, and ATP. One of my most, I would say personally, most loved component that we have as a part of the cloud application security is, as a part of your EMS, is the cloud application security. Sorry. What exactly can a cloud application security do? It has again got limitless potential. While I have my users working remotely, my cloud application security as an application becomes a boon for me, because using cloud app security, what all I can do is I can see my users, see the number of devices that the user has, see where those devices are being accessed from, trace the operating system, trace the browsers and the applications that are installed on that device, trace the public IP address from where the user is trying to access it, trace the potential public IP address risk from where the data or from where the user is accessing the corporate resource, identify the service provider of that particular public IP address, and then set policies to sanction and unsanctioned activities in your environment. And post that, the last layer, that is setting up a level of notifications to the administrators within your organization. So cloud application security, I would consider here to be the most comprehensive last mile in your enterprise mobility suite, which can give you the complete insight of what is happening in your organization or in your environment on your user devices. You can discover and identify the risks that are in your environment, which can be controlled real time using access policies. You protect your data and information using Azure Information Protection Services, and once you have done that, you can have the notifications also of the same coming as a part of your cache platform. You detect the threats, identify the threats, and just kill the threats based on the mobile or based on the threat protection component that you might have implemented in your environment. So remote working today when becomes the most in thing to be done, a modern workplace with all of these security and compliance features in place also becomes equally essential to be driven and taken care of. Information protection for cloud applications, you can gain visibility into the data and the sharing that the user is doing. So you can have a track of every event that the user has triggered, like for example sharing a file through OneDrive, sharing data using SharePoint drives or whatever. You can classify and protect your documents to be probably sensitive, confidential, highly confidential, public data, based on which the permissions will be set and only those users will be able to access the respective data. And then you sit back and monitor and investigate as to what a user is doing where. So, as I said, cloud application security also gives you a pretty, I mean, it has got its own play area altogether, and cloud application security as one single product itself has configurations as vast as what you might be doing in the entire EMS suite. This particular cloud application security comes in two different flavors. One is an Office 365 CAS and another one is an M365 CAS. Office 365 CAS is a pretty premature application. M365 CAS is a complete cloud solution because it has got more potential than the Office 365 CAS. Office 365 CAS is only capable of scanning those typical Office applications which are limited to like nearly 700 or 750 applications. When I talk about MCAS, it is capable of scanning, managing, implementing risk and security on anything and everything across more than 17,000 plus applications. So M365 CAS and O365 CAS are two different products, wherein M365 CAS is any day the need of the hour. A short comparison that I have put over here again to give you when I'm sharing the deck with you. And here is where I am actually coming to a short summary end that we have had on this particular thing. Now, let us have a short demo on the things that can be done as a part of the entire suite. Now, if I take you to my Microsoft Intune, that is the mobile device and application management platform, over here is what I can completely look after device enrollment. I can set up policies over here for enrolling Apple devices, Android devices, Windows devices, etc., etc. All of them. I can come and set over here compliance settings for my devices, like compliance policies, in order to see to which number of devices what policies have been assigned. Like, for example, I need the device to have at least a 4 character password to be a part of the compliance. He cannot, the user can probably not by any chance, have an application, have a device which has got no password, etc. The device should actually be under a threat level, probably less than zero, severity level less or severity level negligent. I must have probably you can say that a particular Android version or a particular iOS version. Only then the device can be onboarded. I must say that for Windows devices, the antivirus and Windows update and everything should be enabled. Only then the compliance can be implemented. I can mention over there that no jailbroken or rooted mobile devices will be permitted to be a part of the compliance, so on and so forth. There are thousands of policies that we need to set in this. And then I configure policies for the devices to set up based on how I want to harden those components. Now, apart from this, what else I can do over here is I can go to client applications and publish like a good number of applications for all my users in order for them to have the access of those applications more seamlessly. I can control these applications, I can manage these applications, I can secure these applications and put all of it in place. I can have conditional access. So when I say conditional access, what exactly am I meaning over here? You can see a policy that I have which says block native mail app. It means you cannot configure your corporate emails in your native mail application provided by iOS or Android. You compulsory need Outlook to be in place. Secondly, let's say for example I am sharing a file I'm sharing a file with a user within the organization. If both the users are within the organization, then the file will be accessed without any second level of security or authentication. If at all I have the user accessing the data who is belonging to the organization accessing the data outside their workplace, in that case it will ask for a multi-factor authentication. And if the data is being accessed over a personal device which is not a part of the compliance, or the data is shared with an unauthorized email address or something of that sort, then in that case the access will be blocked, the user sign in will be blocked, and the user will have to contact the administrator to get it unblocked by providing a systematic reasoning of having performed such an activity which is not permitted. So conditional access again has got a lot of things that can be set up over here in terms of policies and stuff. You can manage all your users over here. Each and every user that is a part of the environment, it can be managed over here. You can manage all your software updates over here. And then based on that, you define diagnostic settings and auditing reports that can be generated with regards to all the devices or applications or users who are a part of this kind of compliance. So guys, when we talk about y- working in a modern workplace today, when I'm giving users a complete accessibility of all my corporate information and data from a remote location, it becomes extremely essential to have a proper security suite in place. And Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security can be that suit to meet your need of the hour. So this was the short summary from my side, guys, that I wanted to give you. We can now spend some time in question and answer that you might have, and then probably we can conclude for the day. I see some questions over here. Would this be covering the endpoint security as well, or it's specific to Office 365? I think I am sorry for being late, but I've answered this question already. I need more clarifications about Intune. We can definitely connect, sir. Post completion of the webinar, I will be sharing this deck and my contact details. We can connect to address the issues that you might be facing with regards to Intune. Can you please brief on the licensing model for all the modules under EMS? Under EMS, see, as I said, there is E3 and E5. And when I say you have business essential and things also, but they don't cover the complete enterprise mobility and security suite. You just have a part of it. So if you want, I'll give you a bifurcated document as well, which explains what is M365 Business Essential, M365 E3, and M365 E5. Intune is by default available as a part of E3. You don't need to go and buy it separately. Presently, I have E3 license, which we are not really using, and we recently renewed. Is the EMS demo available for use? EMS demo is not available for use. You will have to set it up in your environment and use it. No, Intune is not an add-on. It is available as a part of your E3 license by default. You just need to go to your Office 365 portal, log in there, and under licenses, assign the relevant license of Intune to the relevant users, and you'll be good to go. Any further questions, guys, that I am expecting from your side? How do we get to try out EMS? You can simply go create an Office 365 environment, I mean an Office 365 tenant, and subscribe for a free trial from there, which will last for 90 days. You can use the trial edition for 90 days to execute and evaluate every feature of EMS. Can I use Intune to push policies to user computers? Yes, of course. You can use Intune to push policies to user computers, laptops, desktops, iOS, Android, Mac OS, all the platforms. Okay, then I think that is it. that we had for this particular webinar. I would once again want to thank you guys to be a part of it. Stay home, stay safe, take care. The presentation will be shared with you, and you will be getting that presentation with the session that is being recorded. Do I need to install Intunes to the computers? No, you do not have to install Intune on computers. Do the computers have to be in domain or linked to Azure to be used by Intune? Yes, you need them to be linked to Azure or be a part of the domain. Yes. Please shed more light on the licensing. As I said, sir, as I mentioned over here, that I will be sharing an understanding of the licensing, which is going to help you take understand it even better. If you still have questions, we can connect post that. Session we can expect on M365. What kind of a session would you look for? Is we might have to look into and then get back to you on this. I can't see Intune in my portal. I doubt this is not something that should happen because Intune comes as a part of your E3 platform. Um, Junaid, I think we are good with this, and I think we are good to conclude. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ronak, for such an insightful session. Yeah, guys, the presentation along with the recording will be shared with you by end of the day. Yeah, Ronak, I think there's one more question.
Yeah, yes, yes. So M365 is a total package as compared to Office 365. That's right. Office 365 is just a part of M365. M365 is a three times more bigger a package than Office 365.
Great. Thank you so much, guys, for attending the session. Stay safe and thank you once again.
Thank you.